Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I'm going to be showing off a bit of footage and talking about the Chieftain MK V, which is the new Tier 5 main battle tank I've unlocked in Armored Warfare. And it's tough going right now because I'm kind of torn between liking this thing the most and liking my T-72. They're both really good. They have things that I like about them, but we'll get into that in a bit, because those ones are going to be mostly contrasting since I never really fell in love with my Leopard 1A5. So the Chieftain, it's good at doing this sort of thing. You can see I'm not exposing much of the tank because the gun depression on the vehicle is amazing. It's like -10. And it's one of the things you really have to try and do with the tank because it does have frontal weak spots, that being the lower plate. And if you flatten out the upper plate, it only has 100 on the upper plate. So you've got to watch out with how you play it. The tank does round about 425 damage as I've got it set up currently, because I've got retrofits that are augmenting its damage, and I'm able to sometimes output in the high 400s. One of the drawbacks of the tank is it doesn't actually have any heat rounds. It only seems to have AP, like discarding stable rounds and HE rounds. So it's kind of nice when you're in the T-72 because you can just drive around with heat rounds, and when you need to switch, you can. If you need to pen, then that's kind of what I do in that tank. But in this tank, I take almost a complete full loadout of the stable rounds, just because that's what nukes out the damage in the vehicle. Now, that tank that I'm engaging there is the C1, and when he angles like this, there's virtually no way I can penetrate him. Everywhere I pan over top of him is red, and there's no point in even shooting, so I just wait for him to stop and turn his turret, and that manages to damages the ammo rack on his vehicle, I think. That's the icon, I think, is the ammo rack. It doesn't look like it has a person beside it, so I hit him again, and he's going to get hit in a second, and he's going to really, really be in a lot of pain. I'm going to roll up one more time, and he was tracked there, and I thought I'd be able to shoot him in the side, but it was a no-go on that one. Then he gets hit for 1,750 damage because I damaged his ammo rack, and I think his ammo rack blew, and he ended up dying. That was a shot from the Centuro. You can see in a straight line the Chieftain isn't very fast. It also doesn't turn very fast either. The turret traverse also isn't very quick, but it's not so slow that it feels like it's super bad, but it's one of the things you got to keep in mind. You can see I'm traversing on soft ground there. It's like chug-a-lug. It's not exactly fast. My crew right now, and the commander's at tier 5, but the other two crew members, I think they're at like round about level 3, so they got like a 6% augmentation to the base stats that they're good at. If they're a driver, they're a gunner, they're whatever the vehicle crew happens to be. So I'm coming back, and I'm going to try and support these Leopards that are shooting at the front of this tank here. The Abrams is trying to come around the corner, and I was trying to turn right, and this guy kept jamming into me, and I don't know why he just didn't pull forward, turn, and then pull back, but he's just a bit of an idiot that way. And I was trying to shoot at the driver port, maybe, or the turret ring on the Abrams, because honestly, everywhere I pan on the front of the Abrams, except for that little, the commander hatch in the top left, it doesn't even do full damage if I shoot there. So I'm going to roll up beside him. I'm going to aim at the side of his tank, and I'm just going to pump a shot into him, which causes him to turn his turret, and then the Leopards can actually pen him, because they would have sat there all day not doing any damage to him, because they were just basically wanting to be held down, and he would have shot through the front of their turrets anyway, so I'm not really sure what their main goal was there. And I'm going to try and shoot. Oh, yeah. Shooting on the move with the Chieftain sometimes results in good things, but you can see there at the range I was at, it did manage to fling a shot on the cargo trucks, which are a secondary objective in this PvE mission. And even against light tanks, I find I'm a little bit too lazy to even switch to HE. And since HE impacts and it can't go through things, It has its usability problems. And I'm going to take another shot at the starship, take him out. The Chieftain is pretty good at engaging pretty much any tier 5, 6 main battle tank, with the exception of the Leopard 2 AV. I found it had pretty big issues on trying to pen that. If you ever take the Chieftain in with tanks that are higher tier than you, and you have to go up against the side of a Leopard, was it a Leopard 2, I think? It was just that's how they had labeled it. I couldn't even pen the side of its turret, like fully turned at like a 90-degree angle. It was like flat. But since that guy's turret is like 350 with an augmentation on it because of the armor type, it meant that I couldn't pen him. So you've got to be careful with who you platoon up with when you want to go into any PvE missions, as I found out to my detriment. And I've been practicing with the Chieftain to really work on trying to get into positions where I can be hull down and only show the turret, because the turret is definitely the strong point of the vehicle. It doesn't really have a lot of weak spots. The hatch is there, but oftentimes if you're moving around, it's pretty difficult to hit. So with the spot on this hill here, I'm in the Cap, and it has started a spawn timer for when the baddies are coming in. And I can see that someone had shot over there at something, and something took a shot at me from over there. And I have a frontal shot at an Abrams. I'm not going to take it because there's no point. So I'm going to stop, and I'm going to turn and put a shot into the guy to the left. And you can see that when I don't turn the hull, the aiming reticle for the Chieftain is extremely small. And there's things you can get that makes it even smaller when it's fully aimed, or even smaller, the biggest that it can be when it's fully bloomed. And I really like a lot of the different skills that you can get with your crew members to try and change and make the weaknesses of a tank less evident. And I'm not too sure what I hit there. There must have been something in the way. But for the most part, I think the Chieftain's a good tank. Like it's exactly what I feel like a main battle tank should be. It finally is one of the tanks that can sit in front of a Terminator or a Ramka 899, and you don't really have to worry about getting penned over and over again and getting all your health fleeced out by its autocannons. The lower plate is definitely the weak spot. You really don't want to get hit there. So if you can cover it up, the angle of the upper plate and the strength of the turret, especially, you need the armor package. It has one applique armor package upgrade, and it really helps with the survivability for the tank. And at this point, I didn't really care about maintaining my hit points anymore, so I started moving up. And am I going to get a shot in? Am I going to get a shot in? No. So I'll just shoot his friend. But downhill, the Chieftain's able to reach speeds of about 40 to 50, and on normal ground, it's usually humming around at about 30 to 25 to 30. It's not really the most fleet of foot when it comes to moving around. Definitely the strong points are the gun depression and the turret armor and the upper plate armor, if you can not flatten your armor out and you can keep the lower plate covered. I haven't noticed anything too dramatic when it comes to taking extra module damage from certain things, like specific crew members dying a lot, or this or that, or specific things causing you to get ammo racked a lot. Your modules don't seem to be too... There isn't any major weak spot when it comes to when you're getting hit and by what. So in this game, I didn't do a whole tremendous amount of damage. I ended up doing, like, I don't know. We'll look in the victory screen here. The numbers are too blurry for me to read currently, because with the way that my movie making thing works, it blurs up the preview window, and I can't actually read it. I can read loading. That's about as small as things can go before I can't read it anymore, even with my contacts in. And I have seen a Chieftain in real life when I was at the Bovington Tank Museum. It looks just as cool with the armor package at the museum as it does in here. So that was about a 9,000 damage game, and a decent example of what the Chieftain is capable of. And if you're able to keep the lower plate locked up, you'll be doing pretty good. And I'm just taking a look at my crew members there, and you can see there, and managed to get a decent amount of kills and a nice amount of damage compared to the other people on my team. And the Chieftain doesn't make more or less credits-wise than anything else does. It, if you want to compare it directly to the T-72, it's just slower and it has better gun depression, and it does a lot less damage with its rounds because it doesn't have heat rounds. Thanks for watching, guys.